Good evening, people. Hope you're all feeling well. My name's Chris. We're here to talk about good mood foods. This is the last of the presentations for this year, so we're now in December. Good time to talk about being in a good mood. I know Christmas time can be sometimes a little bit of a stressful time for people because of family and I guess the costs of having to buy presents and the like. But hopefully we can get through the end of that and enjoy a little bit of a period of time off and come back happy, healthy, and wiser in 2026. So let's start with good mood foods. So eating your way to a healthier you. So understanding mental health and the diet connection. So diet and mood regulation. Diets, it's been pretty much conclusively shown, although there's still ongoing research, of course, that diets rich in plant-based whole foods and healthy fats, especially the omega-3s, support emotional stability and reduce depression risk. Of particular note is what we call the gut-brain axis, and I'd really like you to take note of this because this is going to come up tonight a couple of times throughout my presentation. But the gut-brain axis is it influences your mental health through the nutrient absorption and inflammation control. It's like the communication between your brain and your gastrointestinal tract. So nutrient supporting brain function, essential nutrients aid neurotransmitter synthesis, as you'd expect. Brain structure, so your brain, for example, is about, seen reports between up to 70% of your brain, your solid matter in your brain is made up of essential fatty acids and energy metabolism for positive mood. So the scientific basis of this is what we call the gut-brain axis. And it's, like I said, it's a two-way street or a pathway between your gut and your brain, and it's connected by what we refer to as the vagus nerve. So it's the flow of information that can influence how your gut and brain functions directly. And by neurotransmitters being produced by the gut microbes or the gut microbiota. So the gut-brain communication, gut-brain axis connects the gastrointestinal tract and central nervous system, influencing mood regulation and brain health. A healthy microbiome, which is the bacteria and the yeast and the fungi that make up your gastrointestinal tract, produces beneficial compounds such as short-chain fatty acids and neurotransmitters that help support brain function. Key to this is your fiber intake. So your plant foods, which are your sole source of fiber in your diet, unless you're taking a fiber supplement, and even then that fiber supplement relies on plant-based foods for the fiber, is going to be your best source of those compounds that help feed the microbiome to help produce the short-chain fatty acids and the neurotransmitters. Chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, primarily from a poor diet, can actually disrupt those neurotransmitters and damage the brain cells. And that has now been linked strongly to causing anxiety, low mood, even as severe as depression. And diet and mental resilience, nutrient-rich diets with antioxidants, omega-3s reduce inflammation and promote psychological health and neuroplasticity. Now, I'm going to look at some of these key studies on this later on during the evening. So, another diagrammatic view of the gut-brain axis. You've got normal cognitive function, balanced gut microbiome, an intact gut barrier, and normal immune regulation. However, if you've got a poor gut-brain axis or an altered gut-brain axis, you've got altered cognitive function caused by gut microbiome dysbiosis, gut barrier disruption, and immune dysregulation and chronic inflammation. So whole food, plant-rich diets and mental health. So plant-predominant diets can support mental health. Whole food, plant-rich diet emphasis. So that doesn't mean you have to only eat whole food, plant-based diet. You can include some amounts of animal products, but it's predominantly rich in whole food, plant-based foods. They focus on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, healthy fats like olive oil for overall wellness. They also tend to be, if you're focusing on the whole foods, you tend to have less room for the processed foods. So they tend to be lower in the highly refined processed foods. Mental health benefits, a whole food plant-based, which is WFPB, way of eating is linked to lower rates of depression and anxiety through nutrient-rich foods. They are naturally anti-inflammatory. So the Mediterranean plant-based diet in particular offers antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, and fiber that reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. And I'll show you a little example of the Mediterranean diet in a moment. There's also an improvement in cardiovascular function. So again, whole food plant-based way of eating helps support mental, cardiovascular, and physical health by lowering blood pressure and reducing the processed food intake. So some examples of the research on this. So this is a review article presented at the Nutrition Society in Cambridge called Nutritional Psychiatry, the Present State of the Evidence. And I've just highlighted some key, I guess, sentences or parts of the paragraph that I think are quite important. So here we're talking about potential biological pathways related to mental disorders include inflammation, oxidative stress, the gut microbiome, what we refer to as epigenetic modification. So basically the influence of food has on your gene expression and neuroplasticity. So the ability of your brain to develop new connections between the cells in your brain and nervous tissue. In particular, this study talks about the microbiota gut-brain axis. So the gastrointestinal microbiota has been implicated in several neurobiological pathways related to mental illness. I won't go into those because that's rather technical, but there's a number there that you can see, such as bone-derived neurotrophic factor, serotonin neurotransmission, immune function, the HPA, which is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, can all mediate stress response. Clinically, difference in patterns of fecal microbiota reflecting decreased gut bacterial richness and diversity have been reported in people experiencing depression. So basically, the less diverse your microbiota, the more risk you have of being depressed. The more you can increase the diversity of your gut microbiota, the better your health and well-being will be, and particularly your mental health as well. And the best way to improve your gut microbiota richness and diversity is to eat a whole range of plant-based whole foods. So dietary-induced alterations in intestinal permeability, such as a high-fat diet, may also affect mental health. And when they say affect, it actually refers to negatively affect mental health. And then we have another study here, effects of dietary fiber, phenolic compounds, fatty acids on mental health, and then possible interactions with genetic and epigenetic aspects. So again, in this study, they talk about dietary patterns recognized as healthy have scientific evidence of their effects, as is the case for the Mediterranean diet, the DASH diet, which is the dietary approaches to stop hypertension. I mentioned that in previous presentations. The MIND diet, so the Mediterranean DASH intervention for neurodegenerative delay diets. They are all shown to have a benefit in helping maintain a positive outlook on life. Evidence associates these diets with a lower incidence of mental illness, including depressive disorders and neurocognitive decline. So phenolic compounds or polyphenols, and when we talk about polyphenols, my mind immediately starts to think of flavonoids and all the range of flavonoid type products, compounds out there, and the flavonoid rich foods. So the polyphenolic products, their high structural diversity complicates their intestinal bioaccessibility. So that's like a fiber, if you like, released from the food matrix, and that absorption, which is very low, and most of those polyphenols go directly into the colon where they are metabolized by the microbiome. So we're now talking about prebiotics, probiotics, but then there's also postbiotics, and that's where these polyphenols have an important role to play. So they are byproducts of digestion that have some role to play in your health and well-being. So due to their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory actions, these polyphenolic compounds contribute to reducing the risk of cognitive decline. Additionally, they are neuroprotective and stimulate neuroplasticity by inhibiting inflammation and activating the genesis of the synapse tissues. They act also as direct antioxidants, helping reduce free radical oxidative damage and indirect antioxidants, stimulating the synthesis of what we call endogenous antioxidants. So things like glutathione, catalase, superoxide dismutase, they're your endogenous enzymes produced by the body. So those polyphenols have a very important role at helping promote those compounds within your body. So in another review article, fiber intake and fiber intervention in depression and anxiety. Again, dietary fibers hold a potential to influence depressive and anxiety outcomes by modulating the microbiota gut-brain axis. So again, the gut-brain axis is being forefront here when it comes to cognitive well-being. Unfolding evidence suggests that a potential role for dietary fibers in mood disorders, in addition to established physiological health benefits of fiber, such as augmenting satiety, enhancing laxation, and regulating blood cholesterol, glucose, insulin, and blood pressure levels as well, for that matter. So the resident microbes of the gut communicate with the brain through various pathways, signaling molecules that modulate the immune system. So again, we're thinking of here, I mentioned short chain fatty acids before, but also including cytokines. Fermentable fibers, particularly those with prebiotic properties, increase the abundance of bifidobacterium and lactobacillus. So in addition to taking probiotics that contain bifidobacterium and lactobacillus species, you can also improve and increase their numbers in your intestinal tract by eating these fermentable fibers. And that has a antidepressant and anxiolytic properties in the body. And furthermore, higher overall fiber intake also seems to reduce inflammation in other chronic conditions, which is reflected by a reduced systemic pro-inflammatory, or often marked as C-reactive protein, in increased anti-inflammatory markers such as interleukin-10. So there's well-established biochemistry here that shows how fiber in your diet can be a benefit in reducing inflammation and maintaining your a positive outlook on life. And again, another study here, this is looking at omega-3 fatty acids. So here, the three main types of omega-3 fatty acids, which is the DHA, alpha-linolenic acid, which is the plant-based source of the omega-3 fatty acids, and EPA, or cousin-pentanoic acid. So EPA, DHA, you find those in your fatty fish, so they're already pre-formed. If you're solely plant-based and you don't consume any fish or other sources of these EPA and DHA, your body can produce them through the elongation of the alpha-linolenic acid. But you need to make sure you have a good supply of the alpha-linolenic acid in your diet if you're plant-based. And those food sources tend to be your leafy greens and seeds and some nuts. So seeds mostly like your flaxseed, chia seed, and nuts such as walnuts. So if you can consume those, you're doing yourself a good thing by getting the alpha-linolenic acid into your body. So approximately 50 to 60% of your brain weight comprises of the lipids, and 35% of that is of your omega-3 fatty acids. So your DHA being the vast majority of that as well. So your long chain omega-3 fatty acids are critically important for your brain structure and function. And we know that omega-3 promotes cognition, neuronal preservation, and protection against neurodegeneration. All right, key nutrients for mood enhancement. So this is just more of the vitamins and minerals now. So B vitamins, so your B vitamins like your folic acid, your B6, B12, support neurotransmitter synthesis and energy metabolism related to mood regulation. So if you're not eating a diet rich in B vitamins, and you can get your B vitamins from your foods, mostly your leafy greens, your fruits and vegetables, your whole grains. But if you're on a highly processed or restrictive diet, then you really do need to look at complementing that with a B vitamin of such. Antioxidants protect the brain, so vitamin E, vitamin C. I mentioned before the polyphenols, so I'm thinking here flavonoid complex, which gives you your broad range of polyphenols, your flavonoids, help protect brain cells against oxidative damage and stress. definitely consider your omega-3 fatty acids. So your salmon oils, sardines, um, your flaxseed, chia seed, walnuts. They will give you a good source of omega-3s, like I said just before, and they help support your neuronal structure and reduce inflammation, and as well as enhancing cognitive function. And minerals and gut health. So minerals like zinc and magnesium are particularly important for helping regulate your immune and reducing stress, while dietary fiber, again, very important, promotes gut health, improving the gut-brain axis. So food sources and practical tips. So incorporating the mood boosting foods. So fruits and vegetables are going to provide you your best avenue for improving your intake of antioxidants, your polyphenols, your carotenoids, your fibrous type compounds that help support gut health and reduce oxidative stress. Whole grains and energy going to be a really good source of B vitamins and fiber to help promote energy stability and neurotransmitter production. Omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish and leafy greens. So again, just to reiterate, seeds such as chia and flaxseed, leafy greens supply omega-3 fatty acids essential for optimal brain function and mood regulation. And then you've got nuts and seeds and legumes, which also provide a broad spectrum of vitamins and minerals, especially if looking at your vitamin E and magnesium levels. Uh, Folate is found in plant foods. In fact, folic acid, is derived from the word foliage. So if you're always thinking, where do I find folic acid from or folates? Think of foliage. So if you're eating lots of plant foods, you should get a good intake of folic acid. But if you're pregnant or think you're becoming pregnant and you don't have a good intake of foliage in your diet, then you do need to supplement with a good folic acid containing nutrient supplement. So I mentioned before the Mediterranean diet. So this is the Mediterranean diet pyramid, or a representation, because as you can perhaps imagine, the Mediterranean regions, it's a large region in Europe or in Southern Europe and Eastern Europe. And there's many different types of Mediterranean ways of eating throughout different regions of the Mediterranean Sea. But as a general, guess visual, this is how we perceive the Mediterranean diet. So we'll start at the bottom and work our way up. So often at the bottom of a pyramid like this, you're looking at the important stuff, the important activities, the important foods. So you try and get the most of that. They form the base of the pyramid, so the base of your health. And then as you go up higher on the pyramid, you go to the foods that you need to eat less and less of. So they don't mean that they're more important, they actually mean you eat less and less of those foods. So at the base, we have every day be physically active, enjoy meals with others, so having social interaction, having a purpose in your day as well. Then your food, the bulk of your food every day should be coming from a wide range of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, doesn't have to be wheat grains, but whole grains in particular. Some olive oil, don't have to go overboard with olive oil, but some olive oil, especially the extra virgin olive oil. Beans, and here they're talking about legumes, so navy beans, kidney beans, lentils, chickpeas, hummus, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices. Then eating at least twice a week or supplementing with these, you'd have your fatty fish and your seafood to help supply a good source of omega-3s. And then you start to really moderate your protein. So your poultry, eggs, cheese, and yogurt, don't have to cut them out, but just try and moderate them to maybe once or twice a week. And then, meats and sweets, eat very, very frugally, very, very sporadically throughout the week. And wine is in moderation, but of course you drink plenty of wine. The only thing that's not on there is green tea. I think green tea should be on there, but green tea is probably more Indian, Asian influence than Mediterranean influence. All right, now putting the puzzle together. So a positive outlook, it is a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. So each of these combined will help promote a positive outlook on life. So diet and mental health link. As we've discussed, scientific studies have confirmed that diet improvements can reduce depression symptoms and improve mood outcomes. Benefits of a predominantly plant-based Mediterranean diet. So follow the Mediterranean diet, which lowers the risk of depression and supports overall mental health. Always consider the importance of omega-3 supplements to help give you the building blocks for the brain tissue. And supplements as nutritional insurance should definitely be factored in. So supplements should be considered as nutritional insurance to ensure optimal intakes of all nutrients. But first, focus on eating healthy, whole food, predominantly plant-based diets, and then participating in regular physical activity and social interaction. So that's the puzzle that we're looking at. So some of these good mood foods, and this is now we're moving across to the supplements from a Neolife perspective. And of course, I've been talking about fiber throughout the presentation this evening, and it would be remiss of me not to include all natural fiber. So this is a versatile fiber powder that can be consumed easily by just adding it into water or juices, and it will give you the equivalent of the fiber content of 2 apples, which is a significant intake of fiber throughout the day. You are supposed to be trying to target a minimum of about 30 grams of fiber per day, and that is at the bottom end. Unfortunately, Australians and New Zealanders are missing that target woefully, and we're hitting around 15 to 18 grams of fiber a day. So this could be a product that will help people improve their diet by 10, 15, 20% if their fiber intake. If they aren't able to eat the whole food plant-based foods. The Neolife Shake is important because it gives you a glycemically controlled, energy-sustaining source of energy throughout the day, helps balances the blood glucose levels throughout the course of the day, and it's a good source of high-quality protein. So it's a really good product for helping to stabilize your energy levels, stabilize your mood levels, and consume it throughout the day. B complex is a very important product. I know I have talked about the B vitamins and the importance in positive health when it comes to your mental health. So again, it provides all of the 8 B vitamins in a sustained release delivery format to help supply the release of those B vitamins throughout the day. They're all from whole food sources, which is incredibly important because a lot of the B vitamins are using, industrially produced synthetic vitamins. So whole food sources is quite a unique feature of the Neolife B complex product. I've spoken at length about the importance of plant-based foods. In particular, food that gives you a wide range of the protective antioxidant phytonutrients, such as the carotenoids and the flavonoids. So the phytodefense is a very versatile, powerful supplement that gives you 6 servings of fruits and vegetables to support your body's natural defenses. It's got, of course, backed by USDA research showing that, in particular, the carotenoid complex has been proven to boost immune support. It's very critically important because the carotenoids being the fat-soluble antioxidants, if you like, and your brain tissue being predominantly fat tissue, it needs these fat-soluble vitamins to help reduce and control inflammation and oxidation that occurs just throughout the day in your brain and nervous tissue. The Pro Vitality, so whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and omega-3s, all in the one source here to give you basically, think of this as a foundational product. Get the foundations right first, and then you can build on top of this. So this product gives you that foundation, a broad spectrum. So each packet contains Tree-N capsule, carotenoid complex capsule, Seminole Plus capsule, plus an essential vitamin and mineral complex tablet as well. So you're getting major, nutrient fortification with a product like Pro Vitality. Seminole Plus, it needs to be said that Seminole Plus is a valuable supplement here for positive mental health. the omega-3s in particular. You can rely on getting omega-3s from your food sources if you wish, but I don't, because I think the risk of contamination with fatty fish these days is so great. We know that in Australia, the food standards, Australia and New Zealand, this applies in New Zealand as well, are saying that if you're eating a fatty fish multiple times throughout the week, your risk of lead poisoning can increase because of the heavy metal contamination that we're now finding in our fish and seafood chain. A lot of our fish now are becoming farmed fish. And so the quality of the fish oil in the farmed fish is dependent on what they feed the fish. So, and this is what we don't realize. So, salmon may be a good source if it's wild grown or wild harvested salmon, but when it's been farmed, you're probably getting corn and grains that are high in omega-6s being fed to those fish. And so their actual omega-3 levels is declining overall. So Seminole Plus, what you're getting here is a specified amount of the desirable EPA, DHA, long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, and without the risk of heavy metal contamination or any other contamination that would be at risk when you're having your fish. All right, just to summarize what we've talked about this evening. So, key takeaways for mental well-being: nutrient-rich foods are foremost. Plant-based whole foods focusing on whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, including good sources of omega-3 fatty acids, provide essential brain nutrients that promote mental well-being. Health benefits of the diet: reducing inflammation and oxidative stress, promoting emotional stability and mood resilience, not to mention cardiovascular health. Practical dietary steps: always look for ways to incorporate more fruits, vegetables, and omega-3 rich foods for better mental well-being. And diet as adjunct therapy: a healthy diet in prudent supplementation supports good mental health. But this is really key. If you are a person who's struggling and you do need special support for your mental health, always speak to your healthcare professional. And with that, I'd like to say thank you. It's been a pleasure doing these little seminars throughout the year. I hope you found them enjoyable, maybe educational and of benefit. And I look forward to seeing you in 2026. Thank you very much.